Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to the United Stand. This is your Manchester Derby preview. Manchester United trip to Man City on Sunday. Let's hope we don't trip up. What is achievable in this game? What are we looking for? How the game is going to pan out? What's the team we should pick? What are the injury issues? All that and a lot more as we delve into a preview for a Premier League game which we've not done for 4 weeks. 4 weeks! Unbelievable, but exciting. And I think the first thing I would say is what is achievable from this game? What is it we're looking for? I'm not going to move away from the fact that if someone said you can have a point now, I would take it. I think a point against the champions out away from home is a very good result. Obviously, we know we can win these games. We've done it in the past when we've been underdogs, so we can do it. But I want a positive result. I think we are the underdogs. I think the fact that I'm going to talk about the injuries in a minute makes us even more underdogs. Welcome to the Members Club, Jason Flake, legend. So look, let's get straight into it. And I think the first thing to start off with is that's just a theory. It's not necessarily how I think we'll line up. I think there's a few ways we could do it. Most likely with Casemiro on the bench. But my personal feeling is that Casemiro needs to start in this game. I'll delve into that more when we talk about the team in a minute. But you're talking about one of the best centre defensive midfielders in the world. You're talking about a player that was superb in the Champions League final a few months ago. You're talking about a player that is experienced and is used to these types of matches, players and environments. And I think he's invaluable in a game like this. I don't think he will start, and I'm not going to moan if he doesn't. I'm just saying there seems to be this debate going on about whether you play Casemiro or you don't. And there seems to be two opinions here. Both opinions united by the fact that Casemiro is one of the best CDMs in the world. But the two trains of thought are McTominay's been playing well. Casemiro's not totally adjusted to the Premier League at the moment, so he should start on the bench. And then the other opinion is Casemiro is completely suitable for this game. He's got the experience, the quality and the leadership to run that midfield in a game where we're not going to have a lot of the ball. You can't bench him just because McTominay's been playing well. So, and I'm leaning towards the other side. You've got to get Casemiro in this team as far as I'm concerned. But before we get into all that, let's have a look at the latest news around the injury situation. Paul Hurst writes with The Times, has come out today and said this, that Martial and Rashford are both doubts for the Manchester Derby. It's understood that neither forward has trained this week, although Rashford's injury is not as serious as Martial's. Welcome to the Members Club, Georgie. So this is really disappointing because we actually haven't seen pictures of Donny van de Beek training either. So despite no competitive Premier League games for 4 weeks and despite the international break, none of these players have come back. And it's quite surprising. It really is. Martial's approaching 2 months with this injury now, which is very significant. And of course, Rashford's approaching a month out now. So they're significant injuries. They're not little knocks. They've clearly got injuries. Whatever those injuries are, they are proper injuries, especially in the case of Martial. I don't know what the issue is with Martial. I can't remember what it was, but it's certainly significant. It's not like a muscle strain or a bit of a rest or a bit of a knock. These are looking like significant injuries. And I'm not saying they're going to be out for months and months and months, but in Martial's case, it's 2 months already. And in Rashford's case, it's a month. So it's very disappointing. I really expected both players to be back training on Monday with a full week to prepare for the derby. They're not even back training and it's Thursday. They will not be playing on Sunday. I mean, never say never. There might be a secret plan here where they've been training inside and stuff like that. But United leak like a sieve. Pep would know that if that was going to be the case. So they're not going to play, are they? And even if they train today or tomorrow, they're not going to play because we know that Ten Hag doesn't take risks. And I think that's a good thing. And I think, therefore, that you can count Rashford and Martial out of this game, which is a shame because it limits what we can do. I mean, the only player we've got with any pace now is Alanga, who I just don't feel is ready for these sort of games. So it limits what we can do as a counter-attacking side when we're going to have to counter-attack with pace. We haven't got any because Rashford and Martial are not ready to play the game. We have to go in with confidence and not just hope for the best. We are United going for the win, says Pauline Brooks. Thank you very much, Pauline, there for that. So I suppose, Harry Maguire didn't train yesterday as well. But as we said with Harry Maguire, this is not the game for Harry Maguire anyway. He's never starting in this game. He's got to get himself fit and he's got to get himself back playing well. So Maguire's, I wouldn't say he's irrelevant. He'd be a nice player to have on the bench. I don't think he'll be on the bench either. But we're talking about Rashford and Martial here, and it's a shame. It's a shame, and I think that ultimately, if we're being absolutely truthful, Martial and Rashford's injury problems are nothing to do with Ten Hag. They're to do with overplaying them when they were younger, and we're starting to pay the price with that. I mean, let's be honest. I don't like to say this, and I'm sure Ten Hag will be working hard on it, but are we going to have a situation, and we're not there yet, are we going to have a situation where Martial and Rashford become injury-prone players for the rest of their career? Both of them are basically in the mid-20s now. I think Rashford's 25 in December, maybe 24 in December, but Martial's certainly into his mid-20s now. Are we now going to have to deal with players that, because they were overplayed when they were younger with injuries, that they're now going to have injury-hampered careers? Who knows? Did you see Rashford won Player of the Month? What thoughts? Keep it up, says Josh. I don't know whether he officially won it, but if he did, well done. Well done for that. It's got to be Sancho and Elanga, says Andy. And how would Maguire be a nice player to have on the bench, says Kate? Because he is a centre-back and he is our third choice centre-back, and I don't actually subscribe to this nonsense that Maguire is completely useless. He was a bench player for United before the international break, and he remains a bench player for Manchester United now. I just don't really see the point in getting into the Maguire. I mean, I'm not even going to talk about Maguire. Stop it. I feel like Ronaldo will look bad playing against City away due to his not having any of the ball and has not been able to counter-attack without speed, says Edgar. Well, before we look at what's achievable and how this game is going to go, let's move over to here then. So I think this team, the back five picks itself. We know that back five. There is no argument about it. It's De Gea, Delo, it's Varane, Martinez, and it's Malacia. There is no place for anybody else. It would be a sin to bring anybody else in. In the midfield, I do think he'll probably go with Bruno, Eriksen and McTominay. But it's 4 weeks since we beat Arsenal. Do we need to pick a winning team from Arsenal? I don't think that we do. The last game that we played was the game in Moldova, where McTominay in the first half was okay, and then Casemiro in the second half I thought played well. I personally think let's play them both. We are not going to attack much against Manchester City. They are going to have somewhere between 60 and 75% possession, Man City. And I know that's a large percentage gap, 60 to 75, but Man City will be somewhere in there. It could be north of 70, it could be below 70, but it'll be somewhere in there. Do you want to pick a midfield of McTominay, Eriksen and Bruno against a team that's going to have the ball? I think you've got to get Casemiro in there, and if you want to play McTominay as well, play them both. I personally would go Eriksen, Casemiro and McTominay. That's what I would do. And I know people think that means Bruno being dropped. It doesn't actually. There is a way that he can play as well. But I would personally go with that midfield because without a shadow of a doubt, whether we like it or not, we will be defending a lot. We are playing the champions, one of the best possession-based teams in the world, at the Etihad. We ain't going there to have the ball. We didn't have the ball against Southampton and Leicester. We're not going to have it at the Etihad. We're going to have to defend well. Therefore, I think Casemiro fits the remit like a glove. I feel like Ronaldo, I've done that from Edgar. So I would go Casemiro, McTominay and Eriksen as my midfield three. I wouldn't just... I would bring Casemiro in for a game like this. I'll go Sancho on the left because he's been in good form for United and he's a possession-based player. So if we can get hold of the ball, and I think that's really important with people like Eriksen. If we can get hold of the ball, Sancho can hold the ball. And I know that's a double get hold of the ball. But what I mean is, if we win the ball back, Sancho's the player who can help us keep the ball. So I think Sancho's really important. Anthony, we've only seen a glimpse of Anthony, I know, but I feel that we've spent a lot of money on Anthony and he is a Ten Hag signing. He's got to play as well. Thoughts on Charlie McNeil starting, says Adewuma. Absolutely stupid. I'm a massive fan of Charlie McNeil, but that is one of the stupidest things I've ever read. Starting Charlie McNeil away at the Etihad on his own up front. I mean, has anybody actually watched Charlie McNeil play either? I mean, he's not bloody Rashford quick. That's not what Charlie McNeil's all about. So I think people need to watch what Charlie McNeil is first before they start thinking that he should play up front instead of Ronaldo. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. And I'm really hopeful of Charlie McNeil being a future star for Manchester United. I think he's a fantastic player, but he's not ready to be thrown in against them. And then you could play Ronaldo up front. Now, Ronaldo is not playing particularly well at the moment. I'm going to look. You could do that. We probably will do that, and we probably won't play Casemiro with Bruno going into the midfield. But personally, I would do this. That is what I would do. Let me just refresh it. Hello. I would do that. That's the team I would pick against Man City, because Bruno can support the midfield. Sancho and Antony can tuck in. It leaves us with very little outball, and that is a problem. But it allows us to keep the ball. And Bruno can press from the front and never stop running. I think I would go with that team. And I think that with Rashford and Martial injured, it may well solve a problem for us. I think Casemiro has to start this game. What I don't want to see happen is we start Ronaldo, Bruno, Eriksen, McTominay, and we put Casemiro on the bench and we lose 2 or 3-0. And we go, we never got hold of the midfield and that's why we lost. At least if you put Casemiro in there, you've got a better chance of getting hold of the midfield. So I would do this. I don't think he will. I think he will want pure pace up front. He may play Elanga. I think he will want that pace because that might hurt Man City. But I would go with that. And I think the interesting thing is, he might go with that. He might go with something else. But I look at that and I think, I trust the back four. And that midfield's got a lot in it as well. We probably won't score. We might get a 0-0 or a 1-0 loss. But I think with that midfield and that defence, we've got a really good chance of keeping Man City quiet. Which brings us on to the next stage. How will this game go? Muzzy says he doesn't think Erik Ten Hag would do it, even though it's a good idea. Casemiro did a sick assist for Brazil. He did. This game is going to be like this. It's the most predictable game you'll ever see. Manchester City, with the genius of Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva and Rodri, are going to run the possession. They might not win the midfield battle, but they'll run the possession of the game. Man City will have a lot of the ball. Haaland is a threat at everything. He's acrobatic, he's quick, he's strong, he's big. You know, one of the things that I think has impressed a lot of people about Haaland is that he bullies the centre-back as well. That Martinez, Haaland, Varane triangle is going to be very interesting. And Man City will have a lot of the ball. We are going to have to defend really, really well. And we are going to have to get away with it. And what I mean by that is, Rory says Elanga's quick, but surely he can't play up front. No, I don't think he can. We're going to have to get away with it. And what I mean by that is, we can't have any unlucky handballs in the box. We can't have any unlucky penalties in the box. We can't have any unlucky deflections that fall for Haaland to score. For us to get a result out of this game, we've got to be focused, concentrated, and set up correctly, which I think we can tick all the boxes too. But Man City are Man City, and whether we like it or not, they're the best team in England. They're a bloody nightmare to beat because they're so good on the ball, and they will create chances no matter how good you are. So we're going to have to defend rigorously, and we're going to have to get the rub of the green a little bit. We can't afford any unlucky moments. We can't afford any red cards or dodgy penalties or deflections, and we can't concede in the first half an hour. It's a game of concentration. It's going to be a game of nerves. But I believe we can do it if we set up like that. I think Casemiro is so important, and I think that back four is so important. And then when the moments come, we've got to be clinical. David De Gea's got to make big saves, and if we get a chance at the other end, we've got to take it. We've done it in the past. We have been to the Etihad, and we've done it in the past, and there is a vulnerability to Manchester City. But I think that we are going to see relentless Man City pressure, and we're going to see relentless Manchester City possession. We don't need to be scared of that. And when we get the ball, we've got two options. We either try the Hollywood ball to just get out of the danger, or we play with confidence and we utilise people like Eriksen, Bruno, Casemiro, McTominay, Antony, Sancho, and we actually keep hold of the ball for a bit. Keep a bit of the possession. And I think Martinez is very important here. Delot is very important. Malacia is very important. Varane is very important. That whole 10 players out of the pitch, out of goalkeeper. We've got to get, when they get the ball, we've got to use the ball. Because Man City, one thing that Man City are as well without the ball is they are relentless pressers. I mean, you think of Bernardo Silva, he's at you all the time. So we've got to be confident on the ball. We've got to use the ball well. We could play the perfect game at Man City on Sunday. Our defence could be superb. The midfield could be superb. And when we get the ball, we use the ball well. And we can still lose 2 or 3-0. That's how good Man City is. We cannot underestimate this challenge. But I'll go back to what I said at the start of the video. What do we want out of this game? We don't want to get beat. We do not want to get beat. We want a draw or a win. That is what we want. We want to continue our growth, our progression, our rebuild under this manager with these players. That's what we want to do. We cannot come out of this game with what happens against Brentford. We cannot come back out of this game and lose what we built before the international break. I think it's so important that we're realistic going into this game. I think it's so important that our expectations are tempered going into this game. And I also think it's so important that we believe in the team, we believe in the manager, and we believe in the project. And I don't like the word project, but what I mean is, if, and it's still a big if we give a good performance on Sunday and we lose 1 or 2-0, it's not the end of the world. It's about credibility, is what I'm trying to say. We want to come out of this game with credibility. Last season, in both games against Man City at Old Trafford and the Etihad, it was just embarrassing. In the second half, I think it was back in March, we had players coming on and walking around. We were a shambles. It was a disgrace. Credibility is what we're looking for on Sunday. We don't know how good Man City are going to be. We also know that Man City's journey is in the distance. It's established. It's consistent. They have no holes in their setup. They're a very, very good side. Even the most optimistic Manchester United fan would say we're coming up against one of the best teams in the world when we are nowhere near that. We need a lot of things to go our way to win that game. We need a lot of things to go our way to draw that game. So what we've got to look for is credibility. We're not going to learn anything or lose anything apart from the game if we lose on Sunday. Ten Hag won't want to lose. Those players won't want to lose. There's characters in that team. But as fans, I think we've just got to be very realistic that no matter what happens on Sunday, it doesn't really change a lot of who we are. If we win, are we going to win the league? No. If we draw, good result. If we lose, does that really change anything? What are we looking for out of that game, and what are we looking out for out of this season? We want top 4. That's, that would probably be beyond a lot what a lot of people thought. We want top 4, but more than anything, we want progression. We want credibility. We want people to look at Manchester United and go, you know what? They were an embarrassment last year, but they're heading in the right direction. And that's what we're looking for. And I'm 100% on board with that. Ronaldo holds the ball better than Bruno. He just loses the ball 50% of the time to Spencer. I think it's massively intriguing what and how Erik ten Hag is going to approach this game. I also think as well, and I'm not one for making excuses, but I also think that it is worth referencing that we are coming into this game in a far worse position than Manchester City. Man City, all right, Calvin Phillips is injured. I think Laporte's been injured. John Stones is injured. But they've still got Diaz, Akanji and Aki. They've still got 3 centre-backs who can just slot in and do a job. They've got no injuries in their attack and they've got no injuries in their midfield. They are coming into this game as the favourites with more points and a stronger and less injuries. And they're at home. We are the underdog. 100% we are the underdog. Just having one of Rashford and Martial fit would have made a massive difference to this game, but we haven't got it. So we need to go with what we've got. And I can't wait for it. I absolutely cannot wait for it. But like I say, I think football, and I certainly believe in you, the community here, and a lot of people who I interact with, I love the way that you analyse games. I love the way that you forge opinions on a game. And I think that one thing I'm very impressed with the United fan base at the moment is that there is a real belief in this manager and these players. And I think that I trust our fan base that no matter what the scoreline is on Sunday, it won't really deviate what people are thinking. If Martinez makes a bad mistake on Sunday, let the radio stations and the press and the rivals have a pop at his height and say he's overhyped. Because I've already seen him play the last 4 Premier League games and play superbly well, and anybody can have a bad game. The focus in this fan base at the moment is about that credibility and progress. And in many ways, you know what? I think this game is badly timed for Manchester United, but we can't do anything about it, and we don't do anything about it, because the United way is not to make excuses. We just get on with it. This game is bad for us. It's a bad time. Straight after the international break, you don't want to be going away from home. You certainly don't want to be playing the champions. And we haven't played a game for 4 weeks in the Premier League. So all the momentum, all the consistency is sort of popped, really. But I think we can turn that... And also, not having Martial and Rashford fit really causes us problems, because the weakest area in that team is attack. We don't have enough attacking options anyway, and we've lost 2 of them. And Ronaldo's not in form. So scoring goals wins you games, and we are struggling for that. Going into this game, that we are struggling for that. But the positive for me is that I actually think that this game comes at the right time for us, because it's almost like a free hit. Man United going to Man City were the underdog, and we're expected to lose, and Man City are expected to win. But it's a derby, which I haven't mentioned, and a derby can be a great leveller. But more importantly, I think if we win, it's an amazing buzz of confidence and a step forward. If we draw, it's an amazing buzz of consistency and credibility. And if we lose, well, it's Man City. They're way ahead of us. They're going to probably win the league. And their team and development is on a different level to us. So, you know what? I look forward to it. I look forward to it without pressure. The win would be dream. The draw would be fantastic. And the loss would be, depending on the circumstances, well, that's not really our battle this year anyway. Our battle then becomes Everton and Villa and Newcastle that are all to come after that. It's a tough start to the next 12 games before the World Cup, but I embrace it. I look forward to it, and I'm excited about it. And I think the players will be like that as well. I think there's a belief. I think there's a belief in that team at the moment as well, and everybody's in it together. But look, the pressure is on Ten Hag, and he will want the pressure to be on him. He knows he's got a back 5 that can do the job, because they've proven it. He knows in Eriksen he's got a player that can deal with this sort of pressure. It's how he builds that midfield. And look, I might be completely wrong. And whatever team Ten Hag puts out on Sunday, you won't catch me moaning about it, because I trust the manager. But I do, and it is about your opinion. If you're asking me right now, does Casemiro start? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Can I get a hell yeah? Casemiro starts in that game, because I watched him in that Champions League final against Liverpool. I've watched him a lot over the last few years for Real Madrid. We're going to play Manchester City at the Etihad with Bernardo Silva and De Bruyne and all the players that they've got. If you'd said to me today, Casemiro was still a Real Madrid player, and you said to me, what one player would you like to have in this game? I would probably say Casemiro, because the way he can protect that back 4, break up the play straight away. I mean, I suppose the best thing to do, and we can't do it, if you say to Man City, do you want Casemiro to play on Sunday? I guarantee all of them would say no. Because if he has a good game, he's one player that can make their job ridiculously difficult. The question is, Ten Hag is the manager, and for Ten Hag, it's not about the best 11. It's not about the best players, it's about the best 11. And what I mean by that is he'll construct the best team, not the best individuals. And he may not feel that Casemiro deserves or is right to start this game. But for me, I think it's absolutely essential. I feel we need Ronaldo on the pitch. The lineup without a striker feels like setting up for damage limitation, says Joshua. If you go with that team, I think that's the only way that Casemiro can start. And that's why I've gone with that. I think it's the only way Casemiro starts this game. If you start Ronaldo, Bruno drops into the midfield 3, Casemiro drops to the bench. I really do think it's Casemiro or Ronaldo. And if you play Ronaldo, you probably play with a false 9 in Bruno. I think you're right. I don't think Casemiro starts. I think that Bruno will drop into the midfield 3 and Ronaldo will start. But I just wanted to emphasise how you can get Casemiro into that team. He's not going to drop Scott McTominay. And you know what? Part of me really does believe that he shouldn't drop McTominay. He's definitely not going to drop Eriksen, and he's not going to drop Bruno. So effectively, if you start Ronaldo, Casemiro goes to the bench. If you don't start Ronaldo, Bruno as a false nine, Casemiro starts. I can't see any other way. You start Ronaldo, you start Bruno, you start Eriksen, you start McTominay, you start Casemiro. I can't see a way of doing it. So, and he won't bench Bruno either. Score predictions time. I'm just so happy. I'm so happy at the moment to have football back. North London Derby on Saturday lunchtime. I'm doing that on That's Football as well. But this is the one. This is the one. This is the one. This is the one. Oh, this is the one I'm waiting for. Do, 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 do. I had a goosebump moment there. I had to sing. I'm gonna go. You know what? United. I'm gonna go 1-1. 1-1's in my head. I'm gonna go 1-1. Everything in my head says Man City will win, and I'm putting respect on Man City. They are a very, very good side, and I've watched them a few times this season. But I'm going to go 1-1, and I'm going to believe in these lads. I think they can get the result done. But I will just say, Manchester City, I've seen them play a few times this season. The Palace game comes to mind. The Newcastle game comes to mind. Even if you're 2-0 up with them, you better hope there's only 2 minutes to go, because they can go bang, bang, bang. They are a really, really good side. And I think that it's going to be very, very difficult. Very, very difficult to get a result out of them. But I think that as long as we as a fan base know that, and as long as we know the enormity of it and put the trust in the players and the manager, what I don't want to see is I don't want to see United fans expecting at least a draw. Oh, at least a draw. No, I think you've got to set this up the way it is. If they get a draw or a win at the weekend, that is amazing. Absolutely amazing. We are playing the best team in England, the champions. That midfield is unbelievable. I mean, me and Ben Foster were talking about combined 11s. I couldn't understand how I couldn't get Eriksen in there. But when you think about it, Rodri, Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne, Eriksen's world class at the moment. You can't put him in. You can't put him in because Rodri, Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne are just unbelievable. So respect on Man City. They're a really good side. And I think we've got to go into this game up for it, focused. And basically, it's Ten Hag's job to do it. But I would be saying in the dressing room, look, no one expects us to do this. Everybody's writing us off. No one expects us to do it. The crowds for them, we're away from home. Everybody expects us to lose. The only people we've got is the people in this dressing room and those fans out there in red, all around the world, believing in us. This is a chance for us to go out there and show everybody that we're on our way back, that we're not going to lie down and get battered like last season, that this is a new Manchester United, that we've got character, and you may be better footballers because you played together longer and you've got better chemistry, but in a straight up battle, we will fight you. Let's go out there and let's, above anything else, go out there and leave nothing behind. Leave nothing behind and show the world that this is Manchester United and that we're biting back for credibility. Fighting back for credibility. That's the mentality we've got to go in. Don't think about wins. Don't think about draws. Think about giving everything you've got on that pitch for yourself and each other, and then coming off the pitch and saying, yes, I did. I did. And if we lose 3-0 and we've done that, and we know they've done that, then you put your hand up and you say, you know what? I can't fault those players. They gave absolutely everything. Man City were too good. That's the mentality I'm going into the game with, and that's the mentality I think these players will go into with, and Ten Hag. And I think that's the mentality the fan base have got to go in. Let's not label it. Let's not label, let's get at least a draw. Let's beat them. I think it's about credibility. Go out there, leave nothing behind, give everything collectively, And if we lose at a point where we're just coming off the worst ever Premier League season, where we got battered by them twice last year. You know, we're on the floor and we think we can climb mountains. Sometimes those mountains are too big when you're on the floor. Little steps. And I think there's a real chance on Sunday for us to do something. There really is. This is Manchester United. Stonesy, thank you very much for being a member 6 months. And Andre says, only the best would be good enough. Never forget Glazers out no matter what. Hopefully the censorship will be over soon. Win versus City would be amazing, says Andre. Look, I think it's also just fantastic how everybody's still, and I said this would keep happening about the Glazers, and I will repeat what I've said before. The Glazer out movement will not stop. The protests will not stop. All those things will not stop. But I truly believe, and some of it's from conversations, but some of it's just a feeling, I think the Glazers are going to go. And I don't think protests or Glazer out on Twitter or anything like that are the reason for it. I think all those things are fantastic, but I think they're going to go because they're going to go for the reason they came. Money. Money is drying up at Man United. The ways they can bleed that club dry are stopping. We're hitting a point now. The Glazers bought Man United and we were a cash cow, and money was just pouring in, and they had us in debt, and they were taking the dividends, and they were paying the debt off on, revenue. It's hitting that point with United now where they've got to spend, and not just on transfers, on Old Trafford, on infrastructure. That club needs money and investment, and they don't want to do that. So what happens to people when they are making money out of something, and then suddenly somebody says, you know that money you're making, you need to spend it? They sell. And I think they will sell for that reason, because they know Man United need a load of investment. And I don't think they'll want to do it. So I think they will go. I think they will go. And I think they will go for that reason. And I don't think they're going to go because of the protests. I don't think they're going to go because of Glazer out movements on Twitter or sponsors being targeted. I think all those things can get rid of them. But I think the real reason they'll go sooner rather than later is because they haven't got the money. So they may as well sell up, take the money, and let somebody else have it. And I think that's what happened. I've never been so confident of that. I do think that the fans can get them out. I do think that can happen, and I think it will happen inevitably. But I think the thing that's going to get them out really, really quick is that they've got to spend money. Like when is Old Trafford getting renovated? That needed to happen last year. Still not happening now. And I think the reason it's not happening is because they don't want to do it. And I think behind the scenes, they're looking for sales. I really do, but we'll see. So yeah, I'm going to go 1-1. 1-1. I'm very excited about this game. I hope you are as well. And I'm looking forward to it. Make sure you smash a like on the video and subscribe. Bottom right-hand corner. I'm back at 8 o'clock. And also, I'm back at just after 3 o'clock on Twitch with the United Stand FC. Join me in for that. It was a great day. Peltier, my goat, the new superstar. We're fighting back. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll see you on Twitch if you're going to join me in about 20 minutes. And if not, I'm back at 8 o'clock. Take care. Loved it being back.